Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody that has logged in live. Good evening, everybody that will be watching this at a later time. I would love to welcome you all to our Womb Care Clinic Scars of Womanhood series. Before I go on any further, can somebody please confirm that my audio is loud and clear?
Yes, it is, Dr. Musoba.
Thank you very much. All right. Welcome to our Womb Care Clinic webinar series, Scars of Womanhood. Scars of Womanhood is simply a series where we bring real women who come to tell their story. And on this particular episode, we'll be talking about the invisible scars of infertility. With us, we have an absolute superhero of a woman, Miss Esther Zulu, who is an entrepreneur and she's also a feminist. She's an absolute powerhouse of a woman. I stalked her through her Facebook, went through all of her posts. So, Madam Zulu, you have been stalked, just so you know. And it was quite impressive seeing her resilience. Let me just jump straight into her bio before she greets the team. Our hero today, Miss Esther Zulu, aka Ninja One, who is an entrepreneur. She's a fitness enthusiast. She's a women's advocate with 19 years of experience as a science laboratory technician and a degree in project management. Ms. Esther Zulu has built a remarkable journey defined by resilience, leadership, and reinvention. After years of serving as an active unionist in her workplace, she transitioned into entrepreneurship, establishing herself in both the food and cosmetic industries. A passionate recreational runner, Esther brings 11 years of dedicated fitness experience, having completed an outstanding 34 marathons, 18 ultra marathons, including the iconic Comrades Marathon, which is a 90-kilometer marathon. Wow. Between Durban and Pietermaritzburg. Her unwavering endurance on the road earned her the inspiring nickname Ninja One. Beyond her profession and athletic pursuits, she is a committed Seventh day Adventist, serving faithfully as a Dorcas worker and a master guide. Her spiritual and community roles reflect her deep sense of service and compassion. Esther is also a strong advocate for women's empowerment, passionately speaking up on issues affecting women, especially the social stigmas and misplaced blame surrounding infertility. She champions the belief that women carry extraordinary strength and wisdom and often overlooked or unfairly judged. A true symbol of perseverance, purpose, Miss Esther Zulu continues to inspire many through her work, her voice, and her unwavering commitment to uplifting women. Miss Esther Zulu, Ninja One, good evening and welcome to the Womb Care Clinic Scars of Womanhood webinar. Ms. Zulu, please feel free to unmute your mic. Even as we allow Ms. Zulu to just play around with her gadgets. This is the woman that we have today who will be talking about one of the taboo topics that we have, but that has come to the front line so much when it comes to the invincible scars that women who are battling through infertility actually get to face. So I'll allow Ms. Zulu to see whether she can manage to unmute her mic. But in the meantime, even as she tries to do that, allow me to just simply jump into my short presentation on infertility, which would just be a short overview. My name is Dr. Mweemba Musoba. I'm a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist. I'm also a fistula surgeon and a fertility fellow that is based at Womb Care Clinic. What is infertility? So infertility, according to the World Health Organization, is defined as a disease that affects the male and female reproductive system, basically defined as a failure to achieve pregnancy after 12 months of regular, unprotected sexual intercourse. So the factors that can lead to this can either be from the male or the female or both. And when it comes to infertility, there are two major definitions of infertility or two major types of infertility, which is primary infertility. And with primary infertility, you're either talking about a male or a female who's not been able to achieve at any point in time. Miss Zulu, is that you?
Yes, it is me. Can you hear me?
We can definitely hear you now. Good evening. Hello, are you
Oh,
there?
perfect. Sorry about that. I am not so much of a dot for these mishaps when it.
Not
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Your line was breaking a bit.
Okay, and am I visible as well?
Your camera is on, so I'd love to believe that you're visible.
Okay, I hope I am. But if you can hear me, it is great.
Perfect. I actually thought you had gone for one of your marathons instead of attending the webinar.
No, I was just having a little technical glitch from my part. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody.
Not a problem at all. So what I'll do is that I'll go through the overview presentation and then we'll bring it back to you.
Great.
All right, thank you. So as I was saying, with infertility, there's what you call primary infertility and there is secondary infertility. Primary infertility simply refers to an individual, male or female, or a couple that have never achieved pregnancy. And when we talk about pregnancies, please note that miscarriages do count as pregnancies. And when we talk about secondary infertility, this is where it starts to become a little bit more complex. You're talking about an individual or a couple that have achieved pregnancy before and now are failing to achieve pregnancy. This is further divided into two different age groups, and these are couples below the age of 35 who've been trying to get pregnant for a period of at least 1 year, and couples above the age of 35 who've been trying to get pregnant for a period of at least 6 months. So there's primary infertility and secondary infertility. A few facts about infertility. Infertility, according to the World Health Organization, affects 1 in 6 people of reproductive age worldwide, which is an absolutely high and astonishing number. And in approximately 40% of infertile couples, what you get to have is that the male partner is either the sole cause or a contributing cause to this infertility. Irregular or abnormal ovulation accounts for about 25% of all female infertility cases. And in this particular category is where you have a disease known as polycystic ovarian syndrome. One of the discussions that we had as Womb Care Clinic was a webinar where we touched on PCOS. Please feel free to go through our YouTube channel and you will be able to find that one. And then finally, most infertility cases, between 85 and 90%, are well treated with conventional medical therapies. So you find that medications can be given and surgeries can be conducted in order to correct the cause of infertility. And what causes infertility? We know that this is a disease that can affect either a man or a woman. So it means there are factors that affect the woman and there are factors that affect the man. To simplify them, I simply define them as the passage when it comes to a woman. And when you're talking about this passage, you're simply talking about the fallopian tubes, which act as a conduit for the sperm and the eggs and the area in which fertilization takes place. So any disease that affects this area can lead to infertility. Then you talk about the home, which is the uterus itself. So if there are any abnormalities of the uterus, these can be fibroids, it can be endometriosis, it can be adenomyosis, different medical conditions, scarring that can injure the inside of the uterus or disturb this particular home, it will lead to infertility. Then there's the production site. And when it comes to the production site, you're simply talking about the ovaries themselves. And this is where the ovum or the egg actually comes from. And a lot of other hormones, such as estrogen, progesterone, will come from these particular ovaries. So if there are challenges in the production site, then a woman might suffer from infertility. Then you've got the brain, and the brain is a very important aspect of any couple's fertility journey or a woman's fertility journey. So it does produce certain hormones which act on the production side, the ovaries, that cause a production of different other hormones. So if there is any dysfunction in the brain side of things, you find that a woman might experience infertility. And when it comes to the man and the male factors, it's also broken down in the same way. You're talking about the passage, which is the vas, where there's transportation, which is the epididymis, where there's this transportation of the sperms themselves, and even the urethra. If there are any blockages in any of these areas, you find that it would lead to a blockage in the passage of the swimmers, which is the sperms in particular, and might lead to male infertility. The home, which is the testis, where there is this production of sperms themselves, there's production of hormones in that particular area. And if you find that there is any disturbances that are affecting that area, infections can be one of them, you find that these might lead to a man being infertile. Then we talk about the swimmers, the smallest cell in the human body, the sperms. If the sperms are abnormal or the sperms are absent or they've undergone certain changes, they are injured at any point in time, you find that this will affect a man's fertility and it would lead to infertility itself. And then the brain. The brain, just like in women, plays a critical role because there are hormones that come from the brain that signal the testis for it to produce its own hormones, for it to produce these particular swimmers. And if there is any disturbance that is happening around that area, you find that the issue of infertility will set in a man. So, what are the social implications of infertility? Among the major social implications of infertility, you find that more especially affecting women, there is a lot of domestic violence that a woman can undergo due to infertility. Couples end up having a divorce because they cannot have a child. There is the social stigma that affects the couple, more especially women, because as we all know, women are the ones that carry the proof of the child. So you find that most of the fingers get to point at the woman. There is emotional stress that begins to affect the couple and the woman and even the man. There is depression, which is very common, anxiety. One faces a lot of low self-esteem because they do not see themselves as either a man or they do not see themselves as a woman. So you find that there is all these social implications that begin to happen. And this is what we're going to be diving into. These invincible scars that surround infertility in particular. So there is this very shocking article, and I think this is where we came from when we decided to have this particular Scars of Womanhood. So this is an extract from Nkani, which is one of the news sources, social media news sources in Zambia, where it says a Lusaka woman takes her own life after facing pressure to conceive. A 28-year-old woman of Mandevu Township in Lusaka, Rosemary Banda, has died after taking her own life at her mother's home in Chipangali District, Eastern Province, following reported marital pressure over her inability to conceive. Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robertson Mweemba confirmed the incident, stating that Rosemary had traveled to Chipata on Sunday to visit her mother, Agnes Chira, after a dispute with her husband regarding her struggle to fall pregnant and have a child. Mweemba said Rosemary briefly left the house and, upon her return, informed her mother that she had consumed a pesticide because she was distressed, unhappy in her marriage. She later began vomiting and was rushed to Chipata Central Hospital, where she was pronounced dead a few hours ago. Such an article is extremely heartbreaking, especially knowing what we know when it comes to infertility, that this is a disease that can affect both a man and a woman. And as healthcare facilities such as womb care clinic, these are some of the diseases that we get to deal with. And when it comes to managing infertility in particular, you find that a holistic approach is necessary. And through this holistic approach, you're dealing with someone's physical side of things, the mental side of things, and it is important that you get to manage all these aspects in order to have a comprehensive treatment of a patient. So from this particular background, we came to our superhero, Miss Esther Zulu, who's just going to talk about her story, and I'll be guiding through questions. And Miss Zulu, I am very, very grateful to have you on our platform, and I am so happy that you took the courage to come and share your story. So good evening once more. And yes, we can see you. Please just unmute your mic.
All right, I'm so glad you can see me. Good evening, doctor, and good evening, everybody. Am I quite audible?
You are audible, but your video has gone off.
Yes. You will have to let me know if you can see me and hear me at the same time.
We can see and hear you now.
Okay, I hope I am loud enough because you are sounding a little bit faint from your end, so I don't know if it is my side.
No, you're absolutely audible and loud enough.
You're
Maybe I'll
very
just take
clear.
off my earpieces.
Okay, yeah, it is your side then, because you're a little bit faint. That's how come you saw me getting closer to them to the phone so that I could hear you. But thank you so much for having me. If I'm audible and visible, I am so glad that many of you are joining us this evening. I'm so excited. It is a delight to be on such a program that brings issues that are affecting society and not just the women. So thanks for having me, Doc.
No, I'm the one who's absolutely grateful for your courage and for accepting our invitation to just be on our webinar and just to simply share your story. And to begin with, I just wanted to find out how did we get here? Why are you telling your story now?
All right. So why now? What I believe is for a certain kind of a breakthrough to come through for a lot of people, a group of people, there requires a certain kind of a sacrifice, you know, because certain issues are kept under the covers, underneath the sheets, okay? And the more it is kept undercover, the more the solutions kind of gets to be kept undercover as well. So that sacrifice is me ready to put out my story out there, hoping that we can change the things that are going on right now, because I believe with some bit of our awareness, with somebody just coming through to tell their story and just look at this whole thing at a different view, with a different view, from a different perspective, then I'm very much pretty sure we can assist a lot of lives. So the reason why I'm doing it now is I am the sacrifice that is ready to go out there, put out a story, and see how many people can be helped. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. And thank you for your bravery. You know, the thing about the sacrifice is that it's painful. Even biblically, when Christ had to sacrifice himself, he knew the pain that he had to go through. And I really, really appreciate that, more especially for you as a woman to come and share your story. And happy belated birthday, by the way. It was your birthday this weekend, and you did what you do best. You went running to celebrate your birthday, which is amazing. So happy belated birthday. So
Thank
in
you. Appreciate it.
yeah, in your story, in your journey, like what have you found to be some of the unspoken, or maybe they are not so spoken, like spoken expectations that society places on women when it comes to their motherhood?
All right. So the common one is that women, we are expected to be productive at a certain age of our lives. In this case, like in our era, you have done your school, you have done what you are supposed to do, and then you have to settle down. You have to be with a man. You have to be productive. So your school is okay. You're getting into employment is also fine. But for you to be completely defined as female, you have to start reproducing. And so they are expecting us to do it in a certain frame of time. And if that time passes even just for a little bit, very few people will care to have the emotional intelligence to first hold it back and just figure out what to say before they say it. Then the next thing, they'll be taking it all out, wondering and literally asking it to your face why you are not being productive in that period of time. So it brings a lot of discomfort sometimes because it is not everybody who has got certain times, periods set for themselves. Like, I'm going to do this in such a time. Some people, things happen. They take longer to happen than in other people. Other people may be having a bit of a problem, but society will just not care about that. They'll start the pressure and you will feel it. And they are not quiet about it. They will throw it into your face. Yeah. So that's about the much pressure that society puts on us women.
So what would you say? Maybe just a few examples, one or two, that stick out with you in terms of what has been thrown in your direction to say, okay, Miss Zulu, what's going on? Why aren't you having babies?
Okay. So on my part, it has not been an easy road, even just to get to a point where I am publicly speaking about it. It has not been very easy. But like I said, I see the statistics, okay, the numbers out there. I see the silent cries. And like you alluded to earlier, the story of that lady who took her own life. I am somebody who has had a lot of stones thrown my way because of that area. I have had a lot of questions. I have experienced stigma. I'll give you an example of the people that have been close to me who have asked several questions like, you are working so hard, because I love to work hard. I love to have things of my own. I don't want to come, Dr. Musoba, I need 10 kwacha for airtime. And it is, I think it is the case with most of the women nowadays. We want not just to be independent, but to also add value to the economy. Okay. So they will look at you like that. They've looked at how hard I've had to sweat for a lot of things. And then they ask a question. The question that was posed at some point was, but you are still alone.
Hmm.
Who are you working for? Who is going to remain with their house or the houses that you are building and intending to build? You are really trying so much to amass so much wealth. What about, haven't you considered,
Yeah.
offsprings? Now, that question was coming from somebody who I think kind of had an idea of what could have been going on in my life, but they did not care. It came out as not just an inquiry, but as a torment. that's just one of the many examples that I have had. And the others, the elderly women and just other people around you asking you if you really are considering to do certain things, that because society will respect you if you are like that. It doesn't matter what you have, but I mean, akadishinako kamwana, you don't you want to be called by? You are just called Esther and Ninja One, but you know, we think you are not complete. So I can give you several examples, but it hasn't been easy, especially that they don't know the struggles behind. They don't know how tough it has been, and they don't know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. The statistics are actually alarming. And I keep on saying, and when you keep on reading what the World Health Organization has been saying, you find that from 1991 till today, the values for what is normal, for example, in men, when it comes to semen analysis, which is basically the most important investigation that you can do for a patient, you find that the numbers have just been reduced. The normal just keeps on going lower and lower. Why? Because the rates of infertility are actually on the rise in our society. Our diet, our lifestyle, pollution, all of these things are actually playing a role. That's why previously it was 1 in 7 people who are of reproductive age. Now it's 1 in 6. So the numbers are just getting worse. So when you share the story that you're talking about and the words that people are asking you, I'm sure they do leave a mark on you, as in they scratch somewhere. What are some of the marks that you think those particular questions, those particular assumptions have left on your life? And what would you say has been the most misunderstood part of your experience?
All right, thanks. The marks are plenty. The examples that I've given, the example that I've spoken of is just one of the many. Okay. Sometimes I've had to experience certain talks. Say maybe you're in a group of women where they'll call you a youngster, not because you're young. Like, by the way, my birthday you're talking about, I turned 42. So I don't want to be called a youngster by a group of women who are much younger than me, but they are trying to put forth a certain message, you know?
Yeah.
So that is just, I can cite a lot of examples, but this journey, this experience is not something that I can wish for any woman. It is a very lonely experience. It is an experience that gets you to question a lot of things. Like when you realize that you are different, okay? Or you start questioning what is it that you could have done wrong that is worse than other people's wrongs that they have done, that you tend to have this burden. Because all of us will agree, we want to be perceived a certain way by society. We want to be accepted.
Yeah.
But where you can feel the rejection, especially when it comes to relationships from the male folk, the questions that they ask, the scars for me, I'll start with the ones that are unseen. It has thrown me into a very lonely place where I kind of get to question just the reason why I got here, what I could have done wrong. So it is a lonely place that makes you to start think of a lot of things. Is it okay that I should continue existing in this way? Is there anything I can do about it? If there is something that I can do about it, is there somebody out there who's willing to go this route with me?
Mhm.
So it has put me in a place of loneliness. You know, you go out, you see people, you do your several activities, and you come back to a quiet home.
Yeah.
Okay? That on its own is not so much of a problem, but then it keeps ringing in your head. They said this. So even when I go out there trying to make an impact, I'm not being respected. Am I even enough? So it puts you in a very lonely kind of a position. The other scars that can be seen, that probably have been seen by my friends, family, and a lot of associates, the visible ones could be behavior, because at some point I just kind of got into, I would call it a depression.
Yeah.
So I was looking for a kind of attachment, something that can give me reason to feel happy, to feel hyped, even if it's just for a few minutes. So my associates, family, and friends could see me reveling, patronizing the bars. I ended up drinking way more than I used to drink before. So it took me to alcohol because it was making me feel numb for a bit. You're kind of looking for happiness in the wrong places. You know, clinging on to wrong people whom you think are going to give you a kind word, but they end up rubbing it in your face. So to the world, I came out at some point, especially in my adult age. I'm not going to speak so much about the time that I was a teenager, because then we are all experimenting this and that.
Yeah.
But when I got into my own space and got to do personal things, I kind of was looking for this kind of acceptance. And so the things that could be seen is my kind of behavior, probably drinking more than I should have been drinking. And even if people didn't know what was going on, this was one of the biggest issues that I was facing.
So it sounds like you have the a very strong mental fortitude. And I'm saying that because, like you said, you come home, the house is quiet, then you're fine with that environment. I think you're fine with your own space. Then you start hearing what they said, and I think that's seems that sounds like that's where the loud part is. You know what people are saying, and you find that a lot of people get to say so much that you they don't even know what the impact of words are. I think words linger on for such a long time. And that's why people say don't say something when you're angry. Always put yourself in someone's shoes. So to the people that just feel they own an opinion on you, the virtue of being a woman, I think there's that. And I think a lot of us do feel as if we own an opinion. Like what's your word to them? What would be your word to them, to the people that just go around saying whatever they
Can you hear
want?
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
The, okay. I got that. You are still faint. That's how come you see me kind of clinging for, but I can still hear you. And if you can hear me, then that's great.
Yes, I can absolutely hear you.
Okay. So you see, we live in a society where everybody is busy. Everyone is busy. Times are hard. Everybody wants to make ends meet. And everybody is fighting something that we cannot run away from. It is the world that we are in. It comes with all sorts of pressure. But there are certain pressures that are heavier on the women. And our friends, acquaintances, society does not help. They really do make them feel very heavy on the side of the woman. You earlier spoke of causes of infertility in both men and women, right? But
Yes,
we hear most of the ones that are suffering are the women, because the first thing that they are going to think of is they have got these names that they call us by. We are called by so many names. The Bemba names are so hateful. And look,
Mweemba.
we are all fighting something. Dr. Musoba, are you there?
yes, I'm here.
Perfect. I kind of want to be seeing you, then I'll be positive that I'm seeing you. So I lost you for a bit. So you have words that linger on. So they'll tell you something like society will not respect you. Like, what are you even working for? Because it's pointless to be working for something. Or you made a mistake somewhere in your life. Somebody actually went to the extent of saying, God has turned his face away from you
Wow.
because you think you have it all because you are tough and you work so hard. But look at the youngsters, they know what they are supposed to do, and so they are having children and you are not having children. It looks like you are not putting any effort in it. Little did they know, probably we are going to talk about this part towards the end of the interview, I don't know, but little do they know the struggles that I've been going through. So it is very unfortunate, and the fact that you are female, they will tell you you have to do something about it. You are not trying too hard, you are way too stubborn, you are too independent. Try and do something about this. Yeah, so the words will linger on, and it kind of gets even into your dreams where you can hear them, and then you go out there, you're seeing what is going on. You just feel like there's nothing that you have to live for. And that is how come we are seeing all these people, because it's not a very easy space to be in, you know? It's not
Yes.
easy.
No, it doesn't sound easy at all. And in this particular space that you're in, how has it affected your relationships? The romantic relationships, the family relationships, and the relationships with your friends. Because I know some of the pressure actually comes from family. Like, family expects you to give progeny. You have to continue the name. You have to leave something. So how has it affected these core parts of your relationship?
Okay, I'll start with family. I come from a very small family. Everybody is doing their own things. So a part of me thinks sometimes I even forget I'm experiencing a certain form of a problem.
Yeah.
But if they do have a problem with it, they have not put any pressure on me. I think my brother is somewhere here. He's on the in the audience listening. I have experienced a lot of love from my brother. My sisters do not question so much about it. My father is a kind of a person who, whatever goes on in your life, as long as you are safe and you are comfortable and you are safe, it is okay. So, from the side of family, I cannot say I've experienced so much pressure. If they have been talking, then they haven't been putting it into my face. But from the side of my friends, I have come to a space where I kind of know who I am supposed to associate with and who I'm supposed to completely shut out of my life. Because if you are close to me and you know what I've been going through, you're not going to be reminding me time and again, repeatedly. So it has put me in a space where I'm able to tell who is genuinely supposed to be close to me and who is not. And honestly, I'm in a period where I would rather be on my own or with a very tiny circle of people around me than be everywhere seeking for a certain form of validation from people who are going to inflict more pain. Okay, because what I have come to notice is that certain individuals will say, certain and most of them will say certain things because they are feeling you are at a certain level from them, but you need to share in a form of sadness. So they will bring out that which they know is going to hurt you. So on the side of friends, it has put me in a space where I'm able to tell who supports me and who doesn't, and who will put pressure and who will not. I don't know which other. Okay, romance.
Yes, the romance.
Um, on the part of romance, I am, yeah, the part of romance. Now, this is where the hate comes from. So, as an adult, 42 years old, I've been in a couple of relationships. one thing that has stood out is there are certain expectations from your partner, right?
Yes.
You are expected to give them something or show just what kind of a woman you are supposed to be for them to accept you fully. So I'm kind of withdrawn a little bit from the issue of romance because it has taken me a lot of willpower to come to a place where I have decided it's better to be alone and not attached than to be with people who are going to amount a lot of pressure on me,
Yes.
especially being attached to maybe a spouse or somebody or a partner. I have experienced enough pressure in that area to a point where the pressure from a partner was pushing me into a suicidal space because
Wow.
every day I was reminded. Now here is a human being who is supposed to give you the support, right? So they
Yes.
see there's a bit of a problem and you need their support. You need their mental support, but they are every day inflicting the mental stress on you. And earlier you spoke about what it takes you into a depression. That doesn't help us at all, right?
No. No.
So where I am when it comes to issues of romance, I don't want to get into somebody's life and then cause them to accept me. Meanwhile, they want to progress by having an offspring, you
Yeah.
know. I am kind of reserved in that area. I just want to be in a space where I don't have pressure.
No, that sounds about fair enough. And I'm happy that your family has always been there for you. Your siblings, your parents, at least they've shown you that support, they've shown you that care, which is a good thing. And you're right, when it comes to friendships, I think if people are not there to help you grow, then it's important to just let them go. So I did notice that you are a Dorcas, is it Dorcas sister? What are the Dorcas called?
It's Dorcas worker. Well, they used to be called Dorcas mothers, but now we're called Dorcas workers because the range of the age has gone bigger.
Okay. So how has this journey affected your faith? You did mention a point whereby you are going into alcohol a little bit more than what you think should be normal. And if you find that even when somebody's going through grief, if I can put it that way, substances such as alcohol can provide that numbingness that one gets. But something about alcohol is that it's also a depressant. When it starts leaving your system, you find that you feel far much worse than what you were feeling initially when you started. So I'm pretty sure during that period of time, I don't know how your faith was and how is your faith now and how has the church and faith played a role in your journey?
Thanks so much. Where I am is as a result of the stage where I've reached, the stage of acceptance, accepting the situation and kind of being comfortable where I am is my closeness with my creator. So during the time when I could look for certain ways to vent,
Yes.
it wasn't as strong as it is now. Okay? It wasn't as strong. And during that time, I realized that allowing pressure from the outside into my space is not causing harm to them. What I was doing to myself was inflicting more pain and harm on myself. And I wasn't getting back at anyone. I was just being unfair to myself as well. So, like you said, alcohol will put you in a place where you feel a bit okay for a bit of just for some time, and then later on you feel worse. And that's how it was then. But I believe this is the point where I can talk about my faith.
Yeah.
I have been an Adventist for a very long time, but we have got stages in life where you are not too strong at a certain point, or maybe you are trying to explore, or circumstances. We are only human. So I believe where I have gotten is my closeness with my creator. I have come to a point where I feel where I know, not I feel, people's opinions of what I'm supposed to be at a certain stage of my life do not matter at all. It is my contribution to society and my relationship with my creator. Because at the end of the day, it is not the person who's saying the hateful things to me that is helping me wake up in the morning. Matter of fact, they don't even know the struggles that I have to go through. And even if I had to go to them for help, they are probably not even going to come through. So my faith and my getting back closely to God has given me this kind of a freedom. You know, you feel a certain kind of freedom, a certain kind of release from pain. And so I got to a point where I felt if I got strong in the faith, I've got to get into groups such as the Dockers Workers, because that group of females is about community service. So we are helping the community. And I felt with the stress that I've undergone, I can be of help through that channel. So it has assisted me just kind of look at what problems people are going through in society and where I can come in to help. At this point, it is this area, and I believe that's the reason why I'm talking about it.
No, thank you for that. I think faith is very important. I'll take you back a bit. I'm sure growing up as a young girl, I don't know whether you had the dream of motherhood, and how did that all just fall apart? If you don't mind sharing.
Of course not. I do not mind sharing anything about this journey. Okay, so I grew up a very normal girl. Big dreams, wanting to make it in life and start my own family.
Yeah.
I had certain expectations of life that certain things just have to come the way they come for everybody else. So, yes, if you are asking if I've ever dreamt of having children, I have absolutely dreamt, and I have tried not once, not twice, but several times.
Okay.
So, I grew up thinking of especially the discipline that my parents were giving me. Up to today, I look back and I say it molded me into being the kind of a person that I am. I wished to give it to my offsprings as well, because I knew they were going to have a certain impact in life. And so, yes, I did dream of being a mother. Has that fallen off now? Can I get to that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so that is where my faith has come in. This is a space where I've gotten to a point. The closure came at a time when I thought I need to find out what is really physically wrong with me. Okay. Let me find out what is physically wrong, because then maybe I can know whether to pursue or not to. And so I got to a point where things looks like the chances are there.
Yes.
But then I had gone through so much pain, and I didn't want to expect so much in such a time. And that is when I decided I have to withdraw a little bit from the male folk who could have been my partners or husbands, who may have wanted me to do it in a certain way. I figured maybe if I could just move away a little bit, it is going to be easier on me. So I am at a point where anything that is going to happen is okay. When you look at the human side, I'm 42. I am not growing any younger. So when I look into the area of motherhood, what starts to come in my head are all these complications that are going to come with, conceiving at my age. Am I going to have this or the strength? Let's not talk about that. Probably I would have the strength.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, scientifically, you start to think about all those things. But I'm a person who believes in God and that there is nothing impossible with Him. But where I am is that I'm okay. If He decides I will be a mom, He's going to speak to me in an audible voice, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear it.
Yeah.
But if he says otherwise, I am still very comfortable with where I am. So whatever is going to happen from now on, it is going to have to take God and the Holy Spirit to speak to me and convince me. Otherwise, I'm very fine. And that is why I feel everybody should come to a point of acceptance of the current situation. I think that's where healing comes from.
Yeah.
You start by accepting that you cannot be like everybody else. Not even our fingerprints are the same. So what God has ordained for you to have in a certain period of time is not what he wants me to have. And what I have to say to the perpetrators is that look at your inadequacies first before you start pointing other inadequacies from the other person. I am not a person who would want to tell this human being who has to come and tell me, why aren't you not doing this? I don't want to start pointing out the wrong, because they are there and I can see them. And I'm probably doing better in one way, but they are just this very shallow in their minds. They think it is going to make them feel better by saying certain things. So I'm pretty much comfortable at the space where I am. And I feel to every woman who has had a bit of experience like mine, should start by getting to a point of acceptance that not everything happens in the same exact time as everybody. I think from there you get into a rightful mental state of mind. And if you are with people who are giving you pressure, the spouses, the boyfriends, the families, step away.
Yeah.
They are going to send you to an early grave. You don't have control. You spoke of treatment, Doc. You spoke of treatment. It is there, right? But
Yes.
how are we going to get the treatment if we do not have the support in the first place? So here is a partner or a husband or a family member who is telling you, um, you must just try hard. I
Mm-hmm.
always say words. Would you like to go this way? Can I go with you? I think we should try this. But at the end of the day, be positive. Because what I know is that a mental state also impacts a lot of other things in our lives. So if you are there to help somebody, walk with them and know that things cannot happen in the time that you expect them to happen. But let people have a free mind. Know that you have the genuine support. If somebody's putting pressure on you, young lady, step back.
Yes.
They didn't. They were not there when you were being formed in your mother's womb. They do not determine your destiny. And God has the ultimate say. At the end of the day, he always wins. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional on that.
It's perfectly fine. I'm enjoying your passion because you're even sort of jumping ahead to even just the question that I want to ask. It's like, because look at the story that we just saw. A woman killed herself because of what people said, because of what society expected of her, because she felt a certain inadequacy at some point in time. And that's not the only story. There are so many cases of gender-based violence that are happening in homes, all because of infertility. And in my clinic, and even as I sit and attend to so many women that have got infertility, I always give the statistics. Close to 90% of the women that come to seek help are in relationships and they're married, but they come alone. And then the majority, there's no male folk anywhere. The male folk simply just says, "Kabiye bakupime, me, I'm fine, and I'm sure I'm going to be okay." But the instances where you get to have a male come through and they find that they've got a problem, you find that the depression that hits the males, that's why I say, we might appear strong physically, but we're not strong to deal with certain things that touch the core of our ego. And I guess that's why people lash out and the GBV and the violence that's going on. So my question to you is not what would you tell other women that are going through this, because you've told them already. But my question is that what would you tell your younger self that was finding comfort in alcohol, knowing what you know right now?
To my younger self, do not be scared to walk certain paths of life alone. You do not need to seek validation from the next human being to feel you are enough. Happiness comes from within. Happiness comes from knowing that you are existing for a purpose. It might not be the same purpose as the next person or your family member or your friend, but you are traveling your own path. And so do not be scared to be alone. Remember, oh, I'm speaking to the younger me. So
Yeah,
I've put this younger me here.
please do.
Remember, not everybody who is around you has to get into your inner space. Be strong and know that you have to walk certain paths alone. And when you see that there is danger, do not inflict more pain on yourself. Take a step back from all the noise. Relook into your priorities. Because when you make yourself better, when you accept who you are and where you are and what is going on with you, that is the only time that you are going to be a better person in society. So to my younger self, don't be scared to move alone. Don't expect things to happen at the time that you expect them to. Work hard, sit back, and everything shall flow in place.
I think that's absolutely solid. One last question before we just open it up to the audience for just maybe a few comments or anything like that. This is a question that we get to ask all the women that come on Scars of Womanhood. So, what does Scars of Womanhood mean to you, Miss Esther Zulu?
Um, I wanted to say something, but sometimes I've got so many things to say at the same time, especially when it comes to issues to do with infertility. You spoke about the people that come to you looking for help and they come alone.
Yes.
Now, I want you to understand, and anybody who is listening, that that is the path that I've had to walk. And here is somebody who knows that you probably need to seek help, and they're letting you go. They are probably not even going to help financially or anything, because these things are not cheap.
No, they are not.
But
Not. Yeah.
you go and check, because me, I have children. I have children. Matter, you know. So it's crazy. So the support is what is needed for the women. Scars of womanhood, that is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay? Scars of womanhood is the pressure that is mounted on us as women because we are expected to be in a certain way for people to accept us. So it could be, I'll speak in maybe 3 or 4 ways. Psychologically, we are expected to think and act in a certain way. Even if we are going through some things, we are not supposed to step out. We are not supposed to speak out. We, we are supposed to just keep quiet because we are women. And those are the scars. Our minds are not at peace. We want to open up, but it is a taboo. You are a woman. You are not supposed to speak about this. The other things are that you have to behave a certain way. By
Yes.
behaving a certain way, I mean you don't have to be too strong. You can do some things. You can be independent and find some things to do, but don't do it too much because you won't be accepted by a man or by society. If you are trying to work hard, you are trying to be above everybody, and that is not even your intention. Most of the times, especially us women of the 21st century, is because it's why we are working so hard is because we can see that our input is required.
Yes.
And we want to, lift the stress off the male folk of society as well by being productive. But society will tell you you can't do this. And they will even say it in your face. If you cross this line, you are not feminine enough. The others are our physiological, our physical being. we are expected to look a certain way, okay? Because if you don't, if you are in your 50s, and you know, when we are growing older, there's a lot of changes in us females.
Very
I'll
true.
tell you, even in the way I work out, even the way I run now, it's different from the way I used to run a few days back. Just the
Yeah.
other day, I was running my 42K. Just to recover from it, I got on the ground on this floor and aches and pains, and it's not the same. So
Yes.
I'll have these changes about me, but society will say I have to look and appear and behave a certain way for me to be accepted either in a man's life or in a certain job. And that leaves us feeling inadequate at certain stages of our lives. Scars of womanhood. But the biggest that I feel in our society as Zambians, this stigma, this thing that everything that goes wrong in a house, in a home, is a problem from the female side, even before everything else is established. It just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to a point where I feel can just leave this country and leave it to the male to run it on their own, because why are they blaming us for everything?
Yeah.
So it makes my heart bleed. It puts us in a place where we feel we can't even be more. We can do more than we are doing. If only society could leave us to realize our full potential. Scars of womanhood means the burden is bigger on the female than it is on the males. And so that's why I always speak about kindness. Speak a good word to the female. I mean, that is the canal through which life is birthed. So if you are not kind to the woman, who else are you going to be kind to? What positivity are you ever going to give to society?
No, I think you've summed it up quite quite well, and just listening to you, it's changing a certain mindset that I have as well. Because I know we can do better. We can definitely do better as the male folk, and we can do better in this journey of infertility as well as men. Because if you look at the numbers, 40% of the reason why it's happening, the male folks are part of that. 40% is a very high number. So that is definitely true. I don't know whether there are any comments, questions from the chat box. I've seen just a lot of people throwing in emojis where they're uploading what you're saying. A lot of people are sending love your way. And I think the message that you've shared is a powerful message. And your testimony is a powerful testimony that I know will strengthen so many people. Even as we upload this video to our YouTube channel and to our various platforms, we are absolutely honored that you decided to share your story with us, Ms. Zulu. We are absolutely honored. It appears there are no comments in the chat box. For every session of our Scars of Womanhood, our superhero, which is yourself, gets to give our closing remarks. So I would love to have you just give your closing remarks on this particular topic. And it's a topic that we'll continue talking about, not just now, even after all is said and done. We'll still have this chat, we'll still get to speak about it. So please, Miss Esther Zulu, our absolute superhero, our absolute amazing woman who does 90 kilometers. My goodness. Yeah, I'll not get over that. About just 2 kilometers in Dafua. So I am I am honored. Please feel free to give your closing remarks.
Sorry, Doc, you broke off for a bit. Is this the point where I have to give the closing remarks?
Yes, please. This is the point where you have to give your closing remarks.
Okay, great. You were breaking a little bit, but
Sorry
if
about that.
if I'm still clear, then that's great. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'll speak anyway. Okay, perfect. To start with, um, you are doing a commendable job as womb care. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you are doing a commendable job as womb care for bringing such kind of discussions. So I applaud you for that.
Thank
And
you.
most especially that experts will just want to get to the treatment. Let us get to the treatment. We need to treat you. But where you can see that even the emotion and societal side of things have to be looked at, kudos to you. I pray you carry on with this spirit, and pretty much sure you're going to help a lot. And I hope also to walk into your clinic one day and just see what we can do.
We look forward to you running here.
Yeah, probably I'll do that. Okay, to the women who are traveling the road similar to mine, I keep saying in my videos on my socials that you are not alone. And I started speaking like this when I saw that that person, that lady had taken her life. I have walked through that road many times where I've considered, let me just get rid of myself because there's really nothing that I'm doing here. But then there's been this side of me which also loves life and says, but if I give up now, um, maybe tomorrow will be a better day. And it's the hope that I have of a better tomorrow, of doing something significant, not just for myself, but for the next person. So for the females that are traveling a similar road as mine, not every day is the same. You've heard the doctor has talked about treatment. If you are willing to go that way, perfect. Seek that. But what I am mostly focusing on is the emotional stability, your emotional stability, because that's where your life is. Remember, you are not alone. If anybody wants to speak to me, I'm open. It's not like I am charging or anything. If somebody just wants to vent, they can speak to me. We can pray about it. Ultimately, for me, I believe God. I know He's the reason why I'm still alive. And so I'm excited to see tomorrow, even if certain things are not working the way I want them to work. So, women, keep working hard. To the young girls, it is always important to have something going on for yourself. The following day after, the day that followed after I saw that story, I saw another post saying, this person wants me to give them a male child. And if I don't give them, they are going to let me go. Who is going to marry me? Who is going to look after me? Now, here is where, when I speaking, people call me a feminist. No, 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 no. I'm not trying to say women rise above men. I'm just saying, young lady, have something that you can hold on, because you cannot be bullying to control things that probably are out of your control at that particular moment. And you need to be with this person. So you're going to go under so much pressure. Have something going. Do your school, find a job. There's always work, even if you don't have a job. Find something to do. To the perpetrators, you also have things that are going on in your lives. Okay? We do not want to dig them out, and we don't even care. Just be nice. If you cannot be nice, then just don't talk to us, you know? And do not question the reason why people are not having children. They will tell you if they need you to listen. Church setups, workplaces. Let us be kind. Everybody's fighting a battle. Let us be the reason why somebody gets a second thought on that suicidal thought, you know? Because a kind word goes a long way. In my birthday video, I said I've been shown a lot of kindness, even if people have said a lot of bad things. I've had few individuals who have said very kind things and done very kind things. I cannot even mention them, but they know themselves, and that has changed my perspective about life. Not everybody is the same, but ultimately, be the change that you want to be. Be kind, and that is when you're going to expect everybody else to try and lend some kindness or be kind to the next person. I can go on and on about this, but
No, no, Miss Esther Zulu, you are a titan of a woman. You are an absolute superhero. And on behalf of Womb Care Clinic and the Scars of Womanhood series, we are absolutely grateful and thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody that logged in. We appreciate, and please follow Esther Ninja One on TikTok. She's on Instagram, she's on Facebook. You'll get inspired. Thank you, everybody, and I wish you all a very lovely, lovely week and a happy festive season to everyone. Thank you.